Scorpio, there's a door opening this Saturday, and the reason you won't recognize it at first is because it doesn't look like a door. It doesn't arrive with a trumpet. It doesn't glow neon in the sky. It doesn't announce itself with a big event that everyone else can see and validate. It arrives the way real turning points always do for you, quietly, privately, like a shift in the air that only your nervous system can translate. Have you ever felt that strange inner tug, that subtle pressure in your chest, as if the universe is gently moving you 2 inches to the left so you can finally meet the timeline that's been trying to find you? If you're hearing this now, it's not by accident. Scorpio doesn't randomly land on messages like this. Scorpio gets guided, and something about you is ready to notice what you've been overlooking. This Saturday isn't about chaos, it's about access. It's about an opening you didn't know existed because you were too busy surviving in the hallway. You've been managing, holding it together, staying composed while carrying weight no one claps for. You've been reading rooms, reading people, reading energy, staying 10 steps ahead so you don't get blindsided again. And for a long time, that skill kept you safe. But Scorpio, safety and destiny are not always the same place. Sometimes safety is a familiar cage. Sometimes it's a beautiful routine that slowly turns into a quiet numbness. And the door that opens this Saturday is not here to punish you. It's here to remind you that your life is bigger than what you settled into just because it was stable. You may think you're waiting for something to happen out there, news, a message, an offer, a sign, a person finally choosing you, a breakthrough finally arriving. But the real door begins inside. The first click happens in your standards, in your boundaries, in what you're no longer willing to tolerate, in what you finally admit you deserve. Scorpio, your transformation always starts invisibly. People don't see the moment you decide. They only see the result later, when you've already crossed the line and there's no pulling you back. That's why this Saturday matters. It's not necessarily the day everything happens. It's the day you stop bargaining with what isn't aligned, and that decision becomes a door. This is the kind of opening that shows up as a conversation you didn't expect to have. A small invitation, a casual message that hits your spirit like lightning, a chance encounter, an inner realization so sharp you feel your whole body go still. Or a sudden urge to clean, to delete, to reorganize, to close tabs, physical tabs and emotional tabs, because your soul is preparing space. Scorpio, when you start making space, it's because something new is trying to arrive, and your spirit refuses to let it land in clutter. There's a particular kind of Scorpio exhaustion that comes from carrying truth in a world addicted to performance. You see too much. You feel too much. You can sense what people mean even when their words are polished. You can detect the gap between what someone says and what their energy confesses. And when you live like that, you have 2 choices. You become bitter or you become wise. Lately, you've been choosing wisdom, even when it costs you comfort. You've been learning the difference between connection and attachment, between love and being tolerated, between being chosen and being used. And this Saturday, that wisdom becomes practical. It becomes action. It becomes a door you walk through without needing anyone's approval. So let's talk about the theme of this opening, because it's not random. Scorpio doors don't open into shallow rooms. They open into deeper levels of self. This door leads you into clarity, into discernment, into the part of your life where you stop trying to be understood by people who refuse to meet you honestly. Into the part where you stop shrinking your truth so others can stay comfortable. into the part where you stop interpreting delays as rejection. Scorpio, delays are not always denial. Sometimes they're protection. Sometimes they're a quiet reroute away from something that would have cost you your peace. You may have felt it lately, the strange sensation that the old version of you is losing interest in the old temptations. The drama doesn't pull you the same way. The people-pleasing feels exhausting. The urge to explain yourself feels pointless. The desire to chase feels embarrassing. The need to prove yourself feels like a costume you've outgrown. That's not you becoming cold. That's you becoming free. Scorpio, your soul is not built to keep begging for crumbs. Your soul is built to build kingdoms, internally first, then externally. This Saturday can also bring what I call revelation energy. Not the kind that ruins your day, but the kind that rescues your future. Someone shows you who they are in a small moment. A promise doesn't get kept. A tone changes. A pattern repeats one last time. And instead of arguing with it, you accept it. Scorpio, acceptance is power. Acceptance is the door. When you stop negotiating with reality, you stop suffering twice, you stop bleeding in circles, and you finally move. Or the revelation might be about you. It might be the moment you realize you've been loyal to an identity you no longer need. The strong one, the mysterious one, the I don't need anyone one. Sometimes Scorpio uses strength as armor, not as truth. Sometimes your silence is peace, and sometimes it's self-protection so intense you forget how to be held. This Saturday, the door might be softness. The kind of softness that doesn't make you weak but makes you real. The kind of softness that says, I'm allowed to want love. I'm allowed to want support. I'm allowed to want more. Scorpio, wanting more is not greed. It's honesty, and honesty is your religion. Here's what many people don't understand. Your most magnetic energy isn't when you're chasing, it's when you're aligned. When you stop scattering your power across too many people, too many worries, too many outcomes. When you gather yourself back into one clear intention. Scorpio, your energy is like a laser when it's focused, and this Saturday is about focus returning. Your mind becomes quieter, your intuition becomes louder, your body starts sending clearer signals. You feel what is yes and what is no without needing to debate it for 3 weeks. You might notice this shift through synchronicities, not the forced kind, not the cheesy kind, but the kind that feels like the universe tapping your shoulder, repeating numbers, repeating phrases, repeating themes. You hear the same idea from 3 different directions. You see the same symbol twice in a day. A memory resurfaces at the exact moment you're deciding whether to move on. Scorpio, your subconscious is not trying to haunt you. It's trying to guide you. It's trying to complete a loop so you can stop dragging the past into the future like a heavy suitcase. And because the title is true, this Saturday opens a door you didn't know existed. Here's how it usually works. You don't find the door. The door finds you when you stop running, when you stop numbing, when you stop filling every quiet moment with noise. Scorpio, you are being invited into a new relationship with stillness, not the old stillness where you go silent to punish yourself, but a sacred stillness where you listen, where you breathe, where you let your soul catch up to your life. So if you want to work with this energy in a grounded way, don't make it complicated. Do something Scorpio understands. Create a ritual of truth. On Saturday, find a quiet moment. 10 minutes is enough. and write 2 lists. The first list is called What I'm Done With. Not what you hate, not what you judge, just what you're finished tolerating. The second list is called What I'm Available For Now. This list is your new doorway. It's your new contract with life. Maybe it's peace, maybe it's honest love, maybe it's money that doesn't come with shame, maybe it's work that doesn't drain your soul, maybe it's boundaries without guilt. Scorpio, the universe responds to clarity faster than it responds to desperation. Then choose one small action that matches your new list, one message you send or don't send, one boundary you set, one appointment you make, one habit you stop feeding, one corner of your room you clean as a symbol that you're making space for a new chapter. Your life changes through consistent alignment, not through dramatic speeches. Scorpio doesn't need a loud moment. Scorpio needs a true one. Now let's talk about the door itself, the symbolic meaning, because your sign is ruled by transformation. Doors represent thresholds, and thresholds are holy in spiritual language. A threshold is where you stop being one version of yourself and start becoming another. It's uncomfortable because the old identity clings. The nervous system wants familiarity. The mind wants proof. But Scorpio, your soul wants evolution. Your soul would rather be honest in the unknown than fake in the familiar. That's why this Saturday may feel emotional. You may feel grief for what you're leaving behind, even if what you're leaving behind hurt you. You may feel nostalgia for a version of you that survived with strength, even if that strength was heavy. Let yourself feel it. Feeling is not failure. Feeling is release. This door also has a relationship theme for Scorpio, because you love with intensity and you detach with finality. If you've been stuck in an emotional loop with someone, thinking about them, replaying them, trying to understand why you weren't chosen the way you deserved, this Saturday can bring closure energy. Not necessarily an apology, not necessarily a conversation, but a decision inside you that says, I'm done paying with my peace. Scorpio, that inner closure is powerful. It breaks cords, it breaks cycles. It breaks the part of you that kept hoping someone would become emotionally mature enough to hold what you offered. And if love is meant to enter your life, this door can also represent a new standard of love. Love that doesn't require you to disappear. Love that doesn't require you to perform. Love that doesn't punish you for having depth. Scorpio, the right love doesn't fear your intensity. It respects it. It doesn't call your boundaries cold. It calls them wisdom. It doesn't try to control you. It tries to understand you. And if you've been settling for half love, this Saturday may be the day you stop settling. That's the door. This door can also be financial and purpose-related. Scorpio often carries a deep relationship between money and self-worth, because you don't just want money, you want meaning. You want your effort to matter. You want your work to feel aligned. You want security without selling your soul. If you've been feeling blocked financially, it may not be because you're cursed or unlucky. It may be because the way you've been earning, spending, or thinking about money doesn't match who you're becoming. This Saturday can bring a small insight that changes your trajectory. A new idea, a new plan, a new offer, a new way of seeing your own value. Scorpio, sometimes abundance begins as permission to charge more, permission to stop overgiving, permission to stop rescuing people who don't reciprocate, permission to stop bleeding energy in places that never grow anything. And yes, sometimes the door is spiritual. Scorpio, you're one of the most intuitive signs, but you've also been taught by life, by betrayal, by disappointment, to doubt your own knowing. This Saturday can bring you back to your intuition in a clean way. Not paranoia, not obsession, not overreading. Clean intuition, the kind that feels calm, the kind that doesn't need 10 explanations, the kind that simply says, this is right or this is not. If you've been seeing signs, having dreams, feeling sensitive, feeling called to withdraw and reflect, don't panic. You're not too much. You're waking up. Now I want to say something directly to the Scorpio who has been quietly suffering, the one who looks fine on the outside but feels like they've been holding their breath for months, the one who has been strong for everyone else but hasn't been held in return, the one who has been carrying a secret grief about love, about family, about time, about regret, about the version of life you thought you'd have by now. Scorpio, this door is not only about destiny, it's about relief. It's about you realizing you're allowed to stop fighting what is already over. You're allowed to stop trying to resurrect what has no soul left in it. You're allowed to let endings be endings. Endings are not punishment. They are purification. And you, more than anyone, know that what dies can become the soil for something sacred. So as Saturday arrives, pay attention to the small things. The conversation that suddenly reveals truth, the urge to clean and reset, the moment you finally choose yourself without explaining it, the moment you feel your standards rise, the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop doubting your intuition, the moment you feel calm in a way you haven't felt in a long time. Scorpio, calm is not boredom. Calm is power returning. If you want an affirmation to carry into Saturday, make it simple and real. I choose what chooses me. Another one. I release what costs me my peace. Another. I don't need to force what is meant for me. Scorpio, forcing is for fear. Alignment is for power. You don't need to force a door open. The right door opens when you arrive as your true self. And when the shift happens, whether it looks like a message, a realization, a decision, a quiet ending, or a new beginning, don't rush to announce it. Scorpio power grows in silence first. Let it settle into your bones. Let it become real in your actions. Let it reshape your choices. Let it become your new normal. Before we close, let me offer you a gentle truth that protects your spirit while keeping this message sacred. Treat this as a mirror, not a command. A story whispered into possibility, not a guarantee carved into stone. If it resonates, take what you need and let it strengthen you. If it doesn't, let it pass like a cloud on a windy day. No fear, no guilt, no force, because not every message is for every soul, and your path is guided by your own inner wisdom, your lived reality, and the choices you make one breath at a time. What matters most is not whether a door exists in theory, but whether you feel ready to step into a truer version of yourself in practice. Scorpio, the door opening this Saturday is not a trap. It's not a test meant to humiliate you. It's an invitation into clarity, into boundaries, into self-respect, into healing, into the quiet kind of power that doesn't need applause. And the most beautiful part is this. You don't have to be fearless to walk through it. You only have to be honest enough to admit what you've outgrown, honest enough to release what drains you, honest enough to choose yourself without making it a war. So when Saturday comes, don't look for fireworks. Look for the click. Look for the moment your soul says, enough. Look for the moment you stop negotiating with what's wrong. Look for the moment you remember that you are not here to beg for a life you were meant to claim. Scorpio. The door you didn't know existed has always been there. It was waiting for the moment you finally became ready to see it.